Right then, so we're gonna have a look at why biochar is probably going to be a huge waste of time for most of us. The Amazonians invented it for a good reason. They can actually make good use of it, but for most of us, just adding good compost is going to be even better than making just biochar on its own. And I'll get into that now in this video. In the second part, we'll look at how to make biochar and also how to kind of make use of the biochar once we actually have made it. You know, doing things like adding it to certain ingredients before putting it into the soil as well. Now, in order to explain why this whole thing might not make sense to you using the whole biochar, and why it makes sense to me, and also why it made sense to the Amazonians, is simply because, and I'm going to just explain it in a very simple way. You have a thing called cation exchange capacities of soils. And before your eyes start glazing over, don't worry, I'm going to explain this thing totally simple, and we won't use any kind of big words or anything like that, because it just takes too long. I'm going to put on a t-shirt or a wool jumper that I've washed in the washing machine, and what is going to happen is going to have electrical charge. Now, whenever I drop a feather next to me, it's just going to go, it's going to get sucked onto my jumper. And that is exactly what happens in the soil with nutrients. The feather is the nutrients, and my jumper are particles in the soil which will actually allow those nutrients through an electrical charge be stuck on there. And this is a very clever way of nature and evolution to make sure that all those nutrient particles, all that food for our plants and microbes, is not going to be just washed away in the next rain. If you have, just imagine in this frame here now that you're watching me in, imagine there's a big round stone here and a big round stone there. And you have a surface area around that stone and a surface area around that stone. Now, if you have 50 little stones all next to each other like that, then the surface area is going to be way larger around all those combined smaller stones. And that means that there's more sites for actually these nutrient particles to adsorb to. Sandy soil has the worst adsorption rate out of pretty much all the materials. So we're here with sandy soil. Clayey soils have, some of them actually have quite a large adsorption rate. And then you have the best two, which would be compost, and you would also have, which is the humus in the compost, humic acid, and then you have the biochar. Both of them have a very, very large adsorption rate. Why is it then very important for me to be adding biochar and not for you? In the tropics, you have high humidity levels, you have a lot of heat, so the decomposting bacteria and fungi in here just go really mad and they start gobbling up all the compost. So I'm putting compost everywhere, and within 6 months that compost is gobbled up, and the soil just loses that those sites in that compost, in that humic acid. And so I need to add something else. So I'm adding biochar to my soils, and I'm adding compost as well. And incidentally, the biochar helps stabilize the humus in the compost, so it also doesn't just get gobbled up so quickly as well. Compost is the best thing in the entire world for an organic gardener or anybody who wants to grow food. It is the solution to any problems that you may have in your garden, in your vegetable garden. So if you have a problem and you see, oh, this is not growing properly, just add compost, and chances are it's going to improve things dramatically. So making soil much more better soil structures, feeding the soil properly, and bringing nutrients and microbes into the soils, and it's just going to fix your soil. Okay, so it's the bee's knees of gardening. So that, I hope, explains to you why it's totally unnecessary probably for you. You can do it if you want. Please go and find a standing dead. If you want to make biochar, do just chop down a standing dead, and if you if you wanted to plant a few extra trees, that's what I would do. Just plant a few more extra trees and then have my standing dead chopped up for the biochar, and just add a little bit to the compost, it goes a long way. Wow, that's starting to look very, very good now.